Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samar News. Here are today's headlines. The European Union has formally designated Iran's Revolutionary Guards a terrorist organisation, citing their role in violently suppressing protests. The bloc also imposed new sanctions on Iranian officials and entities over human rights abuses, a move Tehran condemned as a serious mistake. Announcing the new development, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said repression cannot go unanswered. She also said the region did not need a new war, as the bloc ruled out backing US military action against Iran. She argued that pressure and sanctions were the right response at the moment, instead of escalation. US President Donald Trump is reportedly considering targeted strikes against Iranian security forces and leadership to encourage renewed protests, according to multiple US sources, even as Israeli and Arab officials caution that airstrikes alone are unlikely to topple the clerical regime. Trump's advisors have discussed options ranging from limited strikes on commanders and institutions responsible for suppressing nationwide protests to larger attacks on ballistic missile sites and nuclear enrichment facilities. Sources say no final decision has been made, though a US aircraft carrier and accompanying warships in the Middle East have expanded military capabilities in the region. Israeli and Arab officials expressed concern that such strikes could backfire. Iran's army has received a consignment of 1,000 drones. According to Tasnim news agency, the drones were delivered to several branches of the armed forces. Army Commander-in-Chief Amir Hatami said the delivery was part of preparations in view of potential threats. He said that in line with the threats ahead, the army maintains and strengthens its strategic capabilities to ensure rapid combat readiness and to deliver a decisive response to any aggressor. Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow is closely monitoring the situation in Iran and wants to discuss it with the United Arab Emirates. He made the remarks at the start of his talks with UAE's President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Earlier, the Kremlin warned that military action against Tehran could destabilize the region, following US calls for Iran to negotiate a new nuclear deal. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned that global problems cannot be solved by one power calling the shots, saying international law is being undermined. Although Guterres did not immediately reference any particular country, his remarks come a week after President Trump launched a Board of Peace. Chief of Defense Forces Field Marshal Asim Munir says the Pakistan Armed Forces are rapidly adopting modern technology and innovation to meet evolving battlefield challenges during his visit to Bahawalpur garrison. He stressed adaptability, indigenization, and local preparedness, witnessed the Steadfast Resolve exercise featuring drones, electronic warfare, and modern command systems, and reaffirmed the military's readiness to defend Pakistan's sovereignty. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls on Chinese President Xi Jinping, aiming to build a sophisticated relationship focused on economic growth and security, marking the first visit by a UK leader to China in 8 years. Starmer emphasized collaboration while acknowledging areas of disagreement, including human rights and espionage concerns. Xi said the country's ties had faced twists and turns and expressed readiness for a long-term strategic partnership. During the visit, Starmer and Xi announced a joint plan to combat migrant smuggling networks, sharing intelligence and targeting the misuse of Chinese-made boat engines used for illegal crossings into Europe. China's defense ministry says attempts to contain or block China are bound to fail, urging the United States to stop exaggerating what it called a China military threat. The remarks came after Washington released its 2026 defense strategy, with Beijing saying it supports dialogue but will firmly defend its core interests. A small passenger plane crashed in northeast Colombia on Wednesday, killing all 15 people on board, including a local lawmaker and a congressional candidate, authorities said. The Beechcraft 1900 twin-engined turboprop operated by state airline Satena, departed before noon from Cucuta on a short flight to Ocaña. Contact with air traffic control was lost 12 minutes into the flight, and the wreckage was later found in a rural mountainous area near the Venezuela border. Among the dead were lawmaker Diogenes Quintero, who represented victims of Colombia's long internal conflict, and Carlos Salcedo, a candidate in March's elections. Rescue teams confirmed there were no survivors, and authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the crash. Gold surges, hovering near the $5,600 an ounce mark as investors flock to safe havens amid mounting geopolitical and economic uncertainty. While silver rallied past $120, spot gold climbed 2.7% to $5,546.29 an ounce by 07:52 GMT after touching a record high of $5,594.82 earlier, marking its ninth consecutive session at record levels. U.S. gold futures for February delivery jumped 4.5% to $5,539.20 after hitting an all-time high of $5,626.80. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samar.tv. Thank you for watching Samar News.